Let me ask you a question that cuts straight to your soul. Don't you want revenge on your enemies? I'm not talking about petty payback, gossip battles, or trying to prove somebody wrong on social media. I'm talking about the sweetest, most undeniable revenge you could ever serve. Success so undeniable that the very people who doubted you are forced to watch you rise. The greatest revenge is undeniable success, not the shallow kind that looks good for a moment and fades when the applause dies down, but the type of success that rewrites your story, shifts your legacy, and forces those who once mocked you to acknowledge your transformation. When people doubted you, they weren't just questioning your ability. They were trying to bury the vision God placed inside of you. Real revenge isn't in proving them wrong with your words. It's in proving them wrong with your results. Success speaks a language no argument can compete with. Think about the power of a life so transformed that it silences every critic without you even needing to open your mouth. When you rise, when you build, when you create, the evidence becomes too loud to ignore. Every accomplishment becomes a statement louder than any insult ever thrown your way. That is why undeniable success is not just about personal victory. It becomes a testimony that the seeds of doubt planted against you could not choke out the destiny inside of you. Undeniable success is not achieved in shortcuts or shallow effort. It requires discipline when others are distracted, commitment when others quit, and faith when others fear. It's the daily decision to rise above excuses, to push through resistance, and to build momentum brick by brick. The sweetest revenge is found in the consistency that your enemies thought you could never maintain. Every step forward, no matter how small, becomes a declaration that you will not be defined by their limitations. Those who laughed at your starting point will one day be forced to witness your arrival point. The people who thought your setbacks would bury, you will see that those very setbacks became the foundation for your comeback. Success that cannot be denied is built from pain, rejection, and obstacles that you turn into stepping stones. What they meant for your downfall becomes the raw material for your uprising. There is no greater satisfaction than showing that what was designed to break you ended up building you. The pursuit of undeniable success requires you to focus more on your growth than on their doubt. You cannot be consumed with proving them wrong in the moment because that kind of energy is wasted. Instead, your focus must be on building so boldly and so consistently that the end result leaves no room for argument. By the time you arrive, by the time you flourish, by the time your life radiates undeniable success, the proof will be so clear that even your enemies cannot deny it. Your success becomes undeniable when it transcends your own needs and begins to impact others. When your vision creates opportunities, when your discipline builds wealth, when your growth inspires transformation in others, your enemies can no longer call it luck. They are forced to see that it was divine, it was intentional, and it was unstoppable. That is the kind of revenge that lasts for generations because it's not just about you. It's about everyone who benefits from your perseverance. Undeniable success is about resilience. It's about deciding that no matter how many times life pushes you down, you will stand back up stronger. Every time you rise, you teach your enemies that your spirit cannot be broken. They thought rejection would silence you, but it became your reason to speak louder. They thought failure would discourage you, but it became your reason to keep moving. They thought delay would stop you, but it became the setup for a breakthrough bigger than they ever imagined. This kind of success is undeniable because it refuses to be hidden. You don't have to chase recognition, it will find you. You don't have to beg for respect. Your results will command it. You don't have to announce your arrival. Your impact will make it known. The power of undeniable success is that it shifts the atmosphere around you. Suddenly, the same people who once dismissed you cannot move forward without acknowledging you. Your enemies can deny your words, but they cannot deny your fruit. They can question your plans, but they cannot question your results. They can doubt your dreams, but they cannot doubt your transformation. When your life becomes the evidence, there is no debate, no defense, no dismissal. Undeniable success is not about revenge in the traditional sense. It is about living so powerfully that your enemies have no choice but to confront the truth of who you became despite everything they tried to stop. And when your success is undeniable, it creates a ripple effect far beyond your enemies. It inspires the ones who are still in the struggle, the ones who are doubting themselves, the ones who are ready to quit. Your victory becomes their hope. Your resilience becomes their reminder. Your breakthrough becomes their belief that they too can rise, no matter who is against them. That is why the greatest revenge is not destruction but elevation, not silence but transformation, not anger but undeniable success. Enemies attack your vision, not just you. They don't come against you because of who you are right now. They come against you because of who you could become. The potential inside of you threatens them more than your present reality ever will. That's why critics rise up the moment you start talking about your dream, not after you've achieved it. They see the possibility, and the possibility is enough to stir up opposition. It is not your current position that bothers them. It's the direction in which you're headed. When someone laughs at your goals, they are not laughing at your ability to write them down. They are laughing because deep inside they fear you might actually accomplish them. Doubt and mockery are tools meant to keep you from moving forward. They know if you act on your vision with consistency, it will manifest into something greater than they can control or diminish. The attack is not on your name or your personality. It is on the future they sense in you, the greatness they cannot deny, but desperately want to stop. This is why you cannot afford to take their words personally. Their words are less about your current reality and more about their fear of your unfolding destiny. If they can get you to doubt what's inside you, they've already won without lifting another finger. The attack is psychological long before it ever becomes physical. If they can convince you that your vision is too big, too unrealistic, too far out of reach, you will shrink your own dream and sabotage your own progress. But you must recognize the strategy for what it is. When enemies rise up, when naysayers speak loudly, when critics try to magnify your shortcomings, it is simply confirmation that you are carrying something valuable. People don't attack empty vessels. They attack what threatens them. The louder the opposition, the clearer the evidence that your vision carries weight. Opposition is often a mirror reflecting the greatness that lies ahead if you keep moving forward. Your vision is the blueprint of your destiny, and enemies will do everything in their power to distort that blueprint. They will plant seeds of doubt. They will create distractions. They will magnify obstacles. But the vision inside of you is not theirs to control. It was placed there by divine design. Their resistance may be loud, but it is not final. Their attacks may be sharp, but they cannot cut out what has been planted within you. The more significant your vision, the greater the resistance you will face. This is not a curse. It is a signpost. It is a reminder that your path carries influence. If no one is opposing you, it might mean your dream is too small. The presence of enemies is often a signal that you are walking in the right direction. They sense what you may not fully see yet, the unstoppable force your vision becomes when you nurture it, protect it, and pursue it relentlessly. That is why visionaries often feel misunderstood. People may not see what you see, and in their blindness, they try to convince you that you are the one who is wrong. But vision does not require their approval. Vision requires your belief, your persistence, your willingness to keep moving even when nobody else understands. The attacks you face are not proof of your weakness. They are proof of your calling. They are proof that what you carry matters enough to be opposed. Enemies often show up as distractions disguised as advice. They may come in the form of people you once trusted who now try to convince you to shrink, settle, or stop. But their words are not about you. They are about silencing the vision that terrifies them. Every time you choose to believe your vision instead of their voices, you take back power. You reclaim territory. You remind yourself that what's inside you is stronger than the opinions outside of you. The attack against your vision is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to derail you. It is meant to slow you down, to exhaust you, to keep you circling in doubt until you quit on your own. But when you recognize the true target, you learn to fight differently. You stop wasting energy on defending yourself, and you start investing energy into protecting your vision. You stop reacting to their attacks, and you start building in silence until the results speak louder than the resistance. When you understand that enemies are after your vision, you learn not to despise their opposition, but to interpret it correctly. The presence of enemies means you are carrying something powerful. Their attempts to silence you are confirmation that your vision matters. Their attacks reveal the significance of the dream inside you. And every time you choose to push forward, to keep building, to keep believing, you weaken their strategy and strengthen your destiny. Believing your enemy's lies is how they win. They don't have to physically stop you. They just have to get you to stop yourself. Their greatest weapon is not what they say. It's whether or not you agree with what they say. The moment you let their words sink into your heart and shape your self-image, you hand them victory without them lifting another finger. Their strategy is simple. Convince you that you don't have what it takes, and you will quit long before the breakthrough arrives. When you start repeating their lies in your own mind, they no longer need to chase you. You begin chasing your own defeat. The power of suggestion becomes stronger than any external opposition. If they said you're not smart enough, and you begin to whisper that to yourself in moments of doubt, their voice has now become your own. If they said you'll never succeed, and you start rehearsing that in silence, they don't need to block your path because you've already built your own walls. The real battle is not out there with them, it is in here with you. The battlefield is your belief. If you hold on to the truth of your vision, their lies have no authority. But if you let their lies become your truth, your vision will collapse from the inside. That's why you must guard your mind more than anything else. Your mind is the soil, and their words are seeds. Whether those seeds take root depends on whether you water them with your attention and agreement. Every successful person has faced voices of doubt. The difference between those who rise and those who quit is not the absence of enemies, but the refusal to believe them. Lies only live when they are fed. If you starve them of your belief, they die. But if you entertain them, if you rehearse them, if you meditate on them, they grow into chains that bind your future. Believing their lies is the most dangerous form of surrender because it looks like silence but feels like defeat. Your enemies can call you a failure, but unless you agree with them, their words are powerless. They can tell you that your dream is too big, but unless you shrink it in your mind, it still has power. They can tell you that you are unqualified, but unless you embrace their definition of you, your potential remains untouched. The lie only wins when it becomes your truth. The words only harm when you invite them to live rent-free in your head. The danger of believing lies is that they don't just paralyze your progress, they distort your identity. You start to see yourself through the eyes of those who want to see you small, instead of through the eyes of the one who made you great. You start to limit your choices, lower your expectations, and sabotage your own opportunities because deep down you've accepted a counterfeit version of yourself. This false identity becomes the ceiling that keeps you from rising to your true potential. What lies have you been carrying? Maybe someone told you that you're not capable of success because of where you came from. Maybe they said you don't deserve abundance because of your past. Maybe they convinced you that greatness is for others but not for you. These are not just lies, they are prisons. And the longer you believe them, the longer you stay locked in a cell with the door wide open. The prison is not built of walls but of words. The reason enemies use lies is because lies are cheap but powerful. They don't need to control your environment if they can control your perspective. If they can shift the way you see yourself, they can limit what you attempt. If they can make you believe you're powerless, they don't need to take away your power. You will never use it. If they can make you believe the mountain is impossible, you'll never even try to climb it. The lie is a weapon designed to stop you before you start. Breaking free from their lies means deciding whose voice you will believe. You cannot stop people from speaking against you, but you can stop yourself from agreeing with them. You cannot silence their tongues, but you can silence their echo inside your own mind. Every time you choose faith over fear, every time you affirm truth over doubt, every time you remind yourself of your vision instead of their opinion, you break the chains of deception and reclaim your authority over your life. The moment you stop believing their lies, they lose. Their words lose weight. Their opinions lose influence. Their strategy loses power. They may still talk, but their talk no longer shapes your walk. And when their words bounce off instead of breaking through, you rise with a confidence that no critic can touch. The battle is won not by silencing enemies, but by silencing agreement with their lies. Turn rejection into redirection. Every no you encounter in life is not a wall meant to trap you, but a sign meant to point you toward another path. Rejection is often disguised as protection, steering you away from doors that were never built for you and toward doors that carry your true assignment. Too often, people interpret rejection as the end of the road, when in reality, it is only a shift in the journey. The rejection you cry about today may be the very reason you celebrate tomorrow. When you face rejection, it stings because it feels personal. You think they are rejecting you, when in truth they are rejecting the version of you that doesn't align with their vision. But your value is not determined by who accepts or rejects you. The rejection is not a verdict on your worth. It is simply feedback about alignment. What doesn't align with your purpose has to close off. Otherwise, it would waste your time and delay your destiny. What looks like loss in the moment is often gain in disguise. Rejection has a way of teaching you resilience. It forces you to ask yourself whether your dream is worth pursuing when the applause fades. If your dream cannot survive a no, then it wasn't built for greatness. Every visionary must face rejection because it is the fire that tests your commitment. The real question is not how many doors close on you, but how many times you are willing to knock again or build your own door when there's refused to open. Think about how many success stories were born out of rejection. Some of the greatest books, businesses, and breakthroughs exist because someone refused to accept that rejection was final. They didn't see the no. As the end, they saw it as guidance. Every closed door became proof that another door was waiting, one that was better aligned with their gifts, their calling, and their timing. Rejection redirected them into a lane where their vision could truly flourish. The challenge is to reframe how you see rejection. Instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? Instead of thinking, this is the end, start thinking, this is a new direction. Rejection is not punishment, it's preparation. It is shaping you, strengthening you, and pushing you closer to the place you belong. When you accept this perspective, rejection loses its power to discourage and gains the power to direct. Rejection also exposes who and what was never meant for you. Sometimes we beg for acceptance in places too small for the vision we carry. We want approval from people who cannot handle the magnitude of what we bring. Rejection frees us from clinging to relationships, opportunities, and spaces that would only suffocate our potential. It is not cruelty, it is clarity. And clarity is often the greatest gift you can receive on the path to purpose. There is also an element of timing hidden in rejection. Sometimes the door is right, but the timing is wrong. If you had been accepted too early, you would have stepped into something you weren't prepared to handle. Rejection slows you down so you can grow up. It builds your capacity so that when the right opportunity arrives, you are not just ready to step in, you are ready to thrive in it. The delay is not denial, it is development. Turning rejection into redirection requires humility. It means admitting that your plan isn't always the best plan, and that life has a way of guiding you even when you don't understand. It means letting go of your grip on what you thought you wanted and being open to something greater. Rejection humbles you, but in that humility you gain vision, perspective, and wisdom you could not have accessed otherwise. It strips away arrogance and replaces it with gratitude for the path that unfolds. The pain of rejection is real, but so is the growth it produces. Every time you survive a rejection, you become stronger, wiser, and more determined. It teaches you to separate your worth from your circumstances. It builds a resilience in you that cannot be faked, because only rejection can forge it. That resilience becomes the very thing that propels you toward your ultimate breakthrough. When you understand rejection as redirection, you stop fearing it and start embracing it. You stop seeing it as a curse and start seeing it as guidance. You stop shrinking under it and start growing through it. Each rejection becomes another piece of the puzzle, another step in the staircase, another turn on the path that leads you to the destiny prepared for you all along. Winning requires focus, discipline, and action. Focus is what keeps your eyes on the goal when distractions try to pull you away. Discipline is what keeps you moving when your feelings tell you to quit. Action is what transforms intention into reality. These three together form the unbreakable foundation of victory. Without focus, you scatter your energy. Without discipline, you waste your time. Without action, you live in dreams instead of results. Winning is never an accident. It is always the byproduct of these three working in harmony. Focus means learning to say no to what doesn't move you forward. It means ignoring the noise, silencing the critics, and keeping your attention on what truly matters. Every distraction has the potential to derail you And the enemy of greatness is not failure, but wasted focus. When you allow yourself to be pulled in every direction, you dilute your energy until nothing has impact. But when your mind is fixed on the prize, even the biggest obstacles cannot blur your vision. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Everyone wants success, but few are willing to pay the price of consistency. Discipline is what gets you up early when the bed feels comfortable. It's what makes you study when others are partying. It's what compels you to invest when others are spending. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it asks what you committed to. Feelings are temporary, but habits built on discipline create permanent change. Action is the proof of belief. You can talk about your dream, pray about your dream, and even plan your dream, but until you take action, your dream remains a fantasy. Action is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It is better to take imperfect action than to wait for perfect conditions that never arrive. Momentum is built by movement, not by intention. Every step you take, no matter how small, moves you closer to the finish line. Winning requires combining all three. Focus without discipline is wasted potential. Discipline without action is wasted energy. Action without focus is wasted effort. But when you focus your vision, discipline your habits, and take consistent action, you create a force that is nearly unstoppable. Success is not about luck. It is about aligning your mind, body, and will in one direction until results are inevitable. The challenge is that life will constantly test each of these areas. Distractions will test your focus. Temptations will test your discipline. Fear will test your action. Winning does not mean you never face these tests. It means you conquer them daily. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you strengthen your vision. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you build character. Every time you choose action over fear, you create results. Focus requires clarity. If you don't know where you're going, you will lose focus at the first sign of resistance. That's why writing down your goals and reminding yourself daily is so important. Discipline requires commitment. If you don't commit before the storm, you will collapse in the storm. That's why you must decide ahead of time that you won't quit. Action requires courage. If you wait until fear disappears, you'll never move. That's why you must act even while fear whispers in your ear. The people who win in life are not the ones with the most talent, but the ones with the most focus, discipline, and action. Talent without focus gets distracted. Talent without discipline gets wasted. Talent without action gets forgotten. But average people with extraordinary focus, unshakable discipline, and relentless action rise higher than the most gifted who never commit. Winning has less to do with gifts and more to do with grit. There will be days when you feel like quitting. On those days, focus will remind you of why you started. There will be days when you feel like slacking. On those days, discipline will push you to keep going. There will be days when you feel paralyzed by fear. On those days, action will break the chains and move you forward. Winning is not about avoiding difficulty, but about building a system of focused discipline and action so strong that difficulty cannot stop you. The world respects results, not excuses. And results only come to those who live in the rhythm of focus, discipline, and action. You cannot buy success. You cannot borrow it. You cannot stumble into it. You build it daily through choices. Every choice to focus when others wander, every choice to discipline yourself when others give in, every choice to take action when others hesitate adds up. Over time, those small choices create unstoppable momentum, and that momentum is what produces victory. Make your enemies your witnesses. There is no greater way to silence those who doubted you than by rising so high they are forced to watch. You don't need to argue with them. You don't need to clap back. And you don't need to prove yourself with words. Your life itself becomes the evidence. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every victory becomes a testimony written so boldly that even those who dislike you cannot deny it. Success has a sound. And when you achieve it, your enemies will hear it whether they want to or not. Enemies often underestimate you because they believe their words carry more power than your vision. They assume their doubt can destroy your destiny. But when you rise despite their attacks, you reveal that their power was never over your future. It was only over your attention. And when you choose to stop giving them your energy and instead invest all of it into building, their voices fade while your results grow louder. That is how you transform enemies into unwilling spectators of your greatness. Your enemies wanted you to quit. They hoped you would give up before you saw progress. They counted on your fear being greater than your faith. But every time you choose persistence, you deny them the satisfaction of being right. Every time you keep moving when it would be easier to stop, you take back power they thought they had over you. With each small victory, you place another reminder in front of them that their opinion is not your reality. Making your enemies your witnesses does not mean you obsess over them. It means you stop trying to erase them and instead allow your growth to expose their lies. The higher you rise, the clearer their failure to hold you down becomes. You do not need revenge in the form of payback. Your success itself is the most undeniable form of revenge. Their hate becomes the backdrop, and your progress becomes the headline. Without meaning to, they become part of your testimony. The beauty of this kind of victory is that it requires no announcement. You don't have to post about it, brag about it, or force it on anyone. Real success speaks for itself. The same people who once said you'd never make it will find themselves talking about how far you've come. They may never admit it out loud, but in the quiet of their thoughts, they will have to acknowledge that you are living proof that their words carried no weight. Enemies who doubted your business will one day see it thriving. Enemies who mocked your vision will one day see it manifest. Enemies who dismissed your dream will one day watch as it inspires others. The very people who tried to bury you will end up witnessing the harvest from the seeds you refused to stop planting. They thought the dirt was your grave, but you used it as soil. They thought they were ending you, but they were only contributing to your growth. When your enemies become your witnesses, it changes the narrative. They thought they were writing your ending, but you turned it into your beginning. They thought their rejection was final, but you turned it into redirection. They thought their lies would break you, but you used them to build resilience. Every negative word they spoke becomes fuel. Every obstacle they placed becomes a stepping stone. And every attack they launched becomes proof of how unstoppable you truly are. Sometimes your enemies are not strangers, but people close to you. They know your past, and they think it disqualifies you from your future. But when you rise